Welcome to part 8. It's time to install our final component of our build, the big boy, the graphics card. We are almost finished. Let's get this done. In simple terms, the graphics card is what provides or generates the graphics for your computer. It renders everything that you see on your screen, from pictures to videos to games, everything. It is essential not only for most modern games, but also for any video-intensive task like video editing, 3D rendering, and animation. So basically, your screen is made up of millions of tiny little pixels, and the graphics card is what decides what to do with each of those pixels in order to output the images that you see on your display. For many games, the GPU has to go through this process a whole bunch of times per second. This is what determines the frames per second, or the FPS, of your games. The better the graphics card you get, the faster the GPU can go through this process, and the higher your FPS will be. That will result in much smoother and crisper gameplay and graphics. The GPU also has its own set of memory called VRAM, for holding information about each pixel and temporarily storing completed pictures. Likewise, the more VRAM your GPU has, the better your overall graphics will be. Generally these days you'll want at least 4 GB of VRAM for your GPU. Now, there are many graphics cards to choose from. AMD and Nvidia are the two main manufacturers that you'll want to look for. And again, I encourage you to do your own research to determine which graphics card is best suited for you. If you're just using it for work, like emails and writing, then you probably don't need to go over the top. However, if you plan to do high-end gaming or video editing, then you'll probably want to go with something that's a little bit higher end as well. So here I have the AMD Radeon RX 6400. I would say this is a mid to low range sort of graphics card with 4 GB of VRAM and capable of gaming at full 1080p HD quality. Let's go ahead and take that out of its box. Now, the way to install it is simple. You want to look for the PCIe slot on your motherboard. Most graphics cards will go into the uppermost one that's closest to the CPU, and this will usually be a PCIe 16 bus. You can check the labels above the slot to make sure that you're inserting it into the correct slot. On the graphics card itself, at the bottom is a gold strip of metal that will insert into this slot. Remember, it only goes in one way, so orient the notch to the corresponding notch on the PCIe slot, just like we did with the RAM. You'll first need to remove the PCIe bracket on the case by unscrewing it, corresponding to where the graphics card will go, and this will be generally the second and third highest slot. Depending on the thickness of your card, however, you might need to remove a few more of those brackets below that. Once you've done that, all you need to do is line it up with the slot and push it down until you hear a click. That's simple. Then with the same screws that were with the bracket, simply screw down the graphics card back into place in the same holes that the brackets were in. One thing I do want to say is that most graphics cards will require a PCIe power connector from your power supply in order to provide power to your GPU. In this case, you would plug this cable into the corresponding header on your graphics card. With mine though, I actually don't even have this header on my graphics card, probably because it doesn't consume that much power that it needs its own separate power cord. Just something to keep in mind for your graphics card. But other than that, you're good to go. We have finally finished installing everything that we need for our build. We did it, and you guys have all done an awesome job. But we aren't quite done yet. We still have to make sure that the PC actually works and install our operating system. But I'll leave that to the next video. Hope you enjoyed.